Welcome to part 4 of Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. Is this an earthquake or is somebody attacking the juice bar? It's gotta be Rita's latest menace. We have to get people to safety. Attention everyone! Bipedally ambulate to the nearest convenient egress. That means run! Let's go team, it's morphin' time. Yes indeed! Man, who attacks the youth center? Come on, that's in poor taste, guys. That's in poor taste. Anyway, we got a new putty type, and these are the black or grayish putties. You know, they look more gray. But, where'd that bomb come from? The grayish putties will have a good chance of dodging around your attacks. And that's about it. They also have a jump kick, but they don't do the jump kick as often as dodging around. Oh well, say goodbye to the juice bar for now. It's gonna be fixed up in the next 10 minutes. No, I'm serious. They fixed this thing up quick. Our tax dollar's hard at work, alright. So I've always had a question about the putties and that what type of metal are they made of if the Power Rangers, even in base form, in their civilian forms, they could just take out easily? The Ranger Wiki states that they're made of basic clay or some sort of putty-like compound, but not from the sounds of it. Not unless their uniforms are just a very flexible suit of metal. That could be the case, but they sound really stiff. Again, the show was rated Y7 in America, so you had to get around the censors somehow, so can't beat up real bad guys. Even though I think in the original Super Sentai version they couldn't beat up bad guys either. Like realistic humanoids. If you want my opinion on Super Sentai, I can't really give you one because I've never seen Super Sentai. I've only seen Power Rangers. All I know is that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is actually the 13th or 14th season of Super Sentai, just Americanized. Yeah, I know, Super Sentai has been around for a long-ass time before Power Rangers ever existed. I also don't know anything about the different characters of the Japanese version except that the Yellow Ranger was actually a man in that version, hence why they never wore a skirt. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Power Rangers is a weird production because you got the American high school stuff, which I don't really care about, and then you got the Japanese fight scenes, which is pretty much what makes the show. So it's a weird mishmash of slice of life in California, and then giant kaiju destroying everything. Make it make sense. Well, I wish we could stop for pizza and yummy sandwiches, but we can't. Anyway, tell me down in the comments below what your favorite Mighty Morphin Power Rangers moment is. I think my favorite moments are just anytime Bulk and Skull is just getting screwed up. Because they deserve it. Let's face it, they honestly deserve some of the crap they get. Trying to discover the Power Rangers' secret identities, and also, for the first half of the series, they were antagonistic towards them too. It was also, why were you guys being dicks to the characters? Why? Doesn't mean I don't like the characters, I actually love Bulk and Skull, but still, they were assholes.
More phenomenal!
Indeed it was more phenomenal. More phenomenal. Sounds like I'm saying more phenomenal, but I'm trying not to. Why couldn't you just say cowabunga, dude? Speaking of which, fan of Turtles or fan of Rangers? I was more of a Turtles fan growing up. My brothers would think otherwise, which, you know, I get. The Rangers are good. I just like the Turtles better. They eat pizza. Though I will admit, I probably would watch most of the Power Rangers shows before 2005 over the new, or at least the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show, if I were to be honest. I don't know, I tried to get into 2012 TMNT, but it's like, the animation style is kind of lacking. And I know it's CGI, but it's like Jimmy Neutron or Star Wars The Clone Wars, but 10 times worse. I probably would prefer it if it were cell animated, because it is a good show. There is a good show in there, I just can't get over the animation style. So yeah, 2012, I still love 2003 Turtles. That is my favorite Turtle show. Seems like a lot of good shows came from 2003. That's weird. Why am I talking about Turtles in a Power Rangers game? So when it comes to the Power Rangers, who is your favorite Ranger? Obviously for me it's Tommy Oliver, the GOAT, which I guess doesn't count because he was multiple Rangers and not one specific Ranger. Either the Red Zeo Ranger or the White Ranger. Which is the cool thing about the Power Rangers as a whole, is that the colors are not hard-coded to the character like a motif. It's whatever the Power Rangers are at the time. So if Tommy wants to be the Red Ranger, he can damn well be the Red Ranger. You know, like how in certain cartoons or kids shows, there's a character that's, you know, blue? Yeah, blue. he's freaking blue. Though some cartoons can get away with this, like Turtles, for example. I'm gonna bring this up again, the 4 turtles with their colored bandanas. Without those, you couldn't tell who's who. At least back then. Nowadays, especially with Mutant Mayhem, they try to differentiate the turtles other than the colored bandanas, like Raphael is huge as shit. The dude's swole. These punks have gone punk. They're destroying the subway. The punk look is so over. You never catch me wearing clothes like that. And I can't imagine ever being that disrespectful. I don't know, they look like they're minding their business, just showing on the radio. What do you have against punks? Well, okay, if we're talking about CM Punk, then that's a punk that I don't like. But other than that, the punk putties are basically just your standard putties. They don't do anything special, they're just in decoration, I guess. It's Halloween, even though it's February. I guess you can dress up for Valentine's Day, I don't know. Somebody's doing it. Now, this train segment may look familiar if you played a little unknown game called Final Fight, or even some enemies that reference Final Fight too. Oh man, Final Fight. That's another game that I want to play for the channel. I just don't have the sequels though. I heard those are average. I always liked the first game the most though. The first Final Fight was amazing.
That's hip-hop keto.
I'm not even sure if that's a real fighting style, Zach, but I'll take your word for it. In fact, I can't even really pinpoint the exact fighting style that Zach uses. It's like a hybrid mishmash between capoeira and karate.
You okay?
I mean, he's got the dance moves like in capoeira, but he's also got the discipline of a karate style, so I don't know. Maybe he learned both. Or maybe he mastered every martial arts in existence, like Batman. I hate to imagine how long that would take to actually master every martial arts known to man. That's insane. That takes dedication. Hell, it takes dedication to learn even one martial art. But no matter. You have these pinkish putties that will throw out bombs. They just spawn these bombs endlessly, so you want to take them out quickly. Now, the reason why the putties are punks is because there was a Power Rangers episode where Kimberly and Billy, they were transformed into delinquents for some reason. I think they drank some sort of something. Oh yeah, here it is, the punk potion. That's what they drank. There were 5 cups of punk potion in the Power Rangers punk episode. And the only reason why the team did not transform as a whole is because Kimberly and Billy drank the stuff first. They transformed, and then they knocked the glasses over. They knocked the rest of the glasses over. That was a good episode. That's one of the few Power Rangers episodes I still remember to this day without rewatching. Kimberly just flirting with Skull. And that was one of the earlier episodes of Mighty Morphin. I think it was like mid-season 1, episode 20 or 21, maybe 22. And for my younger audience members, TV shows back then ran on forever. So you got like an anime or a TV show like Power Rangers, there was like 60 episodes a season. Now you got 13 episodes a season, or maybe even 26 if you're really lucky and the show's good. Man, I miss old school TV. Look, I know we're saving the world, but can I report a fashion emergency? What are you talking about? That outfit's a classic. Yes, it is, in a very tacky way. Now here are the Final Fight references. I forgot the actual character's name in Final Fight, but they're kind of like Andre the Giant. Now that I think about it, their name probably was Andre. Oh no, that was Andore and Andore Jr. from Final Fight. Those were the characters' names. But they look like Andre the Giant, so I'm gonna call them as such. I don't recall one of them wearing pink in Final Fight, though. I don't know, maybe that's a Liberty's Taken thing. Anyway, you defeat these 2 guys, that's going to be the end of the level. They service the boss. And they behave like every other brute, except there's 2 of them this time. I think the ranking system in this game is kind of broken. Well, let's just walk our way out of the subway. Did not know there were subway systems in Angel Grove, but then again, Angel Grove is not a real place in California, so it can have anything it wants. Kind of an odd question, but in fiction, have you ever found it weird that there are fictional locations, but they're set in real-life states like Vice City, Florida? Or Hill Valley, California, as another example? Since when do putties play football? Who knows? Let's show them how to take a hike.
Beat the Power Rangers.
So now we got football putties who are probably sour that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Yes! Sorry, hometown favoritism. Now, with the football putties, you want to get to a safe location or just dodge right through them. You also want to be careful with the tengu, or tanga, the birds. I think they're tanga. I don't know why it's spelled like that. It's usually tengu if it's a Japanese bird creature, but I know Power Rangers does things differently. Okay, maybe not too differently from Super Sentai Zyuranger, but it does have the American high school stuff. Speaking of Super Sentai, I do know that there are Famicom games based off of the Super Sentai series. I haven't played them. I have seen gameplay of them, and they look good, but they also look kind of standard. Even more standard than the movie beat-em-up game on the Sega Genesis. Which the movie game on Mega Drive is fun in its own right. It's also kind of boring at points, because it's really just the same putties over and over and over again. And it's really easy. And I mean so easy that the enemies cannot reliably kill you by themselves. There's a time limit, and if that time limit drains, then you lose health. That you don't die, you just lose health. That's how easy that game is. You have something between 2 or 3 health bars depending on the ranger too, so yeah. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie on Genesis, super easy. I can't say the same thing for the Super Nintendo version. That game is actually hard. But if there's one thing I would give the Sega Genesis version of the movie over the Super Nintendo is that it follows the plot of the film more, somewhat? Maybe? And I guess the Sega Genesis soundtrack is better because it has more songs from the show and the movie, even though overall the Super Nintendo soundtrack is superior. I guess that's a matter of taste, but come on, Frozen Mountain from the Super Nintendo game? Now that's peak. Did I just make a pun on Frozen Mountain? Yeah, forget it. That's another thing about the Power Rangers movie game on Super Nintendo. It barely even followed the movie. It just had Ivan Ooze in it, and that's really about it. It played similarly to the Super Nintendo game from 1994, except you can actually jump to different floors and stuff, and everybody, especially Billy, they had different combos. That's another good Power Rangers game. I don't know, I go back between liking the original game over the movie game, and liking the movie game over the original game. It's kind of odd, I can't choose a particular one. The original SNES game had better music quality for sure. If you thought Frozen Mountain from the movie game was good, just get a load of Stage 1 from the first game. Or Stage 2. Or Stage 3. Or 4. Or 5. Or the boss theme. Or the title theme, which actually has lyrics. On the Super Nintendo, no less. Even though it's really just 4 words over and over again. It's Go Go Power Ranger. Not Rangers, Ranger. I guess they didn't have processing power for the S. The S is way too powerful for the SNES. You just call it the Nintendo Entertainment. The NE. The NE. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I've gone too long without eating something. Actually, let's change the subject. Since we did not really get any Super Sentai games in America, did Japan get Power Rangers games over there? And I'm talking with the American cast, the American setting, Rita, Repulsa, all them. I wonder if any of these games were released over there in Japan. Gonna have to assume that everything after a certain point just fell under the Power Rangers umbrella, just to make things more streamlined. Or this game could have very well been released in Japan under the Super Sentai banner. You can name it Zyuranger, Villain's Name Rewind. What is the villain of that fucking show's name? That bomb guy needs to go. You see that ice cube in the background? There's a secret there. It looks like a person needs our help. found Marge, and I forgot who that was. I think she was like somebody's love interest. I don't know if it was Zach or Billy's. Oh, I think it was Billy's, yeah. And I think she only appeared in one episode of the whole entire series too, so kind of odd to bring her into this game. That's a deep cut. At least with Ernie and Kaplan, they showed up in multiple episodes. Hell, Mr. Kaplan made it all the way up to Turbo, I think, so he lasted a good while. Good old Harold Cannon, he played a strict teacher very well. Another one of Rita's puppets. Who are you? Your worst nightmare. Feel the interdimensional power of Madam Woe. She actually transported us into an alternate dimension. Now to finish you, suffer my wrath. Ah, Madam Web. Madam Web, what the fuck? Madam Woe. Now this boss fight is tricky because, well, she can grab you out of nowhere. A lot of her attacks are area of effect based, so therefore, this move in particular, you want to make sure you move around or just jump around. Those small X's are very deceiving. The explosion effect is way larger than the X lets on. You also want to be careful on how you attack Madam Woe because it seems like she has a counterattack of her own. Mainly through the ice breath. That thing is lethal. After you hit her enough times, she'll go into overdrive and call the Seven Seas and Poseidon to help her. Oh, Jesus! In my opinion, that's kind of hard to avoid. I'm not that good. At least when it comes to dodging that. Okay, oh god, it's the freaking meteors again. This ain't Final Fantasy VII. Ow. I got a rock to the face. I forgot to mention this before, but you don't have that many invincibility frames in this game. So it's kind of like Golden Axe or the original TMNT arcade game in that if you get back up, you are liable to take another hit. It is cheap, but it's also a thing that arcade games did back in the day, especially 80s and early 90s beat 'em ups. I think after Streets of Rage, they've done away with the no iframes thing. Because in Streets of Rage, whenever you get knocked down, you have a couple of seconds to gather yourself and nobody really did anything to retaliate. I can't believe it! I got beaten up by a geek! Anyway, stay tuned for the final part of Rita's Rewind.